TGIF. So today is Friday. This is my last school of the week. I tried to travel light today, so it's the first day I'm not wearing a backpack. This is a pretty far commute, so not having a lot of stuff really makes it a little bit easier. So some people waiting at the bus stop, so I'm not gonna be that dude. That's it. See you at Gonchan. I got off a couple of stops early, feeling a little motion sick. This one always gets me. If the bus ride is like 20 minutes, I can usually do it. But anything over 20 minutes is kind of pushing it for my limitations. And this one's getting close to about 40 minutes to get here. And so it's pretty tough. So if I can get out a little early and walk a little bit, it usually helps before I start teaching class. Feels like it's been a long week. But time is, an illusion. So this is Gonchan, which is my Friday school. This is definitely the easiest school I have, even though I teach the most classes here. The reason it's so easy is the students are very enthusiastic. So I would say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have some enthusiastic students and some difficult students, whereas here the larger portion is enthusiastic and the difficult students are maybe one or two. And that makes such a difference as far as being able to teach, just if the enthusiasm is there. They don't have to be good at English. They don't have to work super hard. It's the attitude. So if their attitude's good, the class goes really well. So you're required to teach 22 hours here. And if you don't have 22 hours, so if there aren't enough classes to create 22 hours a week of teaching, then they'll give you like an English club or a phonics class. And when I was in Sejong, my first year, I had a phonics class, and that was a challenge. This English club, we usually just play games and, try to have them practice English things. Like I'll ask them questions while we're playing games. It's hard to remember sometimes with 4 schools, like what I did last week. So I bought like a planner and a notebook, but by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I forget to write down like what I did. I feel like I'm always working from behind. And I think this is, it's partly my fault. I'm kind of lazy, but I feel like I didn't get enough instruction at the beginning as far as what textbook we're using, what the homeroom teachers want me to teach, what they're going to teach. And because of that, I feel like I've always been about a week behind. And I wish I would have had more clarification at the beginning to know, oh, we're going to start with this lesson. We want you to teach the even numbered lessons, or you can teach every lesson, but don't use the textbook. And it varies from school to school. And it's been really hard to just kind of settle in and get acclimated to my schedule because of that. 4 schools is challenging. And I think that's the most challenging aspect about it is you have to plan so different from day to day, and there's no consistency there, and that's really challenging. Well, it is very, very humid in this school today. I think it's raining today, and it's been really, really hot lately. So I guess, environmentally, through science, that means that it's very sticky today. So I feel kind of gross. I feel a little sweaty, I feel a little sticky, but it is what it is. And the classes today are always pretty good. And you can probably tell with my demeanor that I'm in a lot better mood than I tend to be the rest of the week because these classes go so well. Now, they're crazy. Do not get me wrong. Something that you definitely have to get used to teaching in Korea is students are going to yell, students are going to be silly, but they're learning and they're trying and they're having fun. So I definitely try to take a step back and not be so micromanaging to where all students have to sit down, all students have to be quiet, because that's just not going to happen here. And when you try to instill that kind of behavior, you lose some of the enthusiasm that you would otherwise have. So you have to be adaptable with your teaching style when you actually come here. And really, I would say that's true for teaching anywhere. I wish I would have had this mentality teaching in America, just kind of, let more things go, only worry about the things that are important. If someone is being bullied, then that's something you want to step up to. If someone is being disrespectful, then that's something you want to step up to. But if they're just excited to be there, then that's not something that you have to just constantly keep under your thumb. And my co-teacher left some candy to use in English club. And it's very nice of her to do that because there aren't many students in there, so giving them candy will be kind of fun. But I have a big problem with giving candy in class. And this is something that a lot of Korean teachers do. They give candy as a reward, or they give like stickers as a reward, and then after a student gets like 10 stickers, they give them a piece of candy. There is nothing wrong with this type of positive reinforcement. There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to do this in your classroom, by all means do so. And I'm not saying it's bad inherently. However, it creates a culture within your classroom that is sometimes hard to overcome. And what I've encountered is when you start giving candy, then they expect candy. And when they expect candy, that becomes their sole motivation for doing well in class, rather than just an intrinsic motivation, which is what it, in my opinion, should be. And it gets to a point where sometimes it's bordering on disrespectful, because a student will be like, I want candy, give me candy. Or when they do something even mild, they expect candy as payment. And I just personally believe you don't want to get into the habit of giving payment to students, because then you lose the ability to just not give them something. And what I tend to do is, so when I have English camps, like in the summer and the winter, like I'll do rewards during camp time, because that's a completely separate time. And then when they come to class, they don't expect it because it's not camp anymore. Something that's really good here in this school in particular, and I noticed this in Sejong as well, students want to help each other. They want to see others succeed. They're not worried about, oh, well, my team's gonna lose if I help this person. An example of this is my 5th grade class today. That's a really good class. There were 2 teams, so team 1, team 2, and one person on one team was having a hard time with the question, and somebody from the other team walked over to them and helped them and kind of walked them through it. And it's really nice to see that. There was a time in Sejong they were doing like races outside, and one boy fell. And instead of finishing the race, all the other boys that were in that same race as him, they stopped and helped him up, and then they finished it together. And it was really touching moment. I'm getting a little, ninjas cutting onions in here, because it's a beautiful thing to see that kind of behavior. There can definitely be a bullying culture in Korea, but I think you also see a really beautiful friendship culture here, especially among boys. They're very attached to each other, and they want to be friends with each other, and they're really good about helping each other out. And that was something I didn't really encounter in America. I can remember being in elementary school and not having very many friends that were boys, because it was usually like the athletic boys that were friends with each other. And, I was a bit on the heavier side when I was young. And so I didn't really have very many friends growing up. And to see here that a lot of times they really try to incorporate each other and be friends with each other, it's a really nice thing, especially in elementary school. I can't speak for middle or high school, but sometimes it's very beautiful, and sometimes it's very frustrating, because sometimes they will be mean to each other, especially boy-girl. There's a lot of like boy-girl rivalry here, and you will see that pretty often, as far as like, boys are better, girls are better, and it's usually more on the boys' side, bullying the girls. But that's not always the case. I can't speak in absolutes, because, every class is different, every school is different, every child is different. Really looking forward to just relaxing and editing this video and just eating snacks and watching Netflix, and the weekend is a wonderful thing. So on my way home, I stopped at a convenience store because I wanted my favorite thing that is in Korea right now, and it is this Tarte Cherry Aid. And I get one of these pretty much every afternoon. I don't get one on Thursday because I don't come that way, but every other afternoon and on the weekends, I drink one. And it's not that bad, like 17 grams of sugar, so it's better than like having a cider or something like that. I also got a few other things. I got a cookie. This cookie's like got a brownie in the center, so just kind of like a little treat. And then I also got some bulldog ramyun. There's the label finally. This is the cheese one. I haven't had the cheese one. I've had the jjajangmyeon one. I've had the original one. I've had the carbonara one. All of them are pretty good. I was just craving like a spicy noodle, and so I'm gonna give that a try. We'll see how it goes. That's about it. Enjoy the weekend.